Hey guys, Paul's here. I'm live with First Block. Say hello, First Block. Hello. Okay, say hello, First Block. Hello. All right. So today we had to do Mondays and Tuesdays DGP for our first DGP sentence. We were in here yesterday, but we didn't do DGP, so we got to make up lost time. So we're going to use this sentence right here to do Mondays and Tuesdays, but you should have a sheet of paper that looks like this, and you can do Mondays and Tuesdays on different sentences. So we're going to start with Mondays. The first thing we've got to identify is the word go. Now this is a little unusual because go appears to be an action verb. Do we agree with that? Okay, so I'm going to put action verb here, and it appears to be in the present tense. So I'm just going to put AV and then pres for present. And I say that's unusual because what part of speech, what kind of word do we usually have right before a verb? We usually have a noun, but I don't see one yet, so we'll deal with that in a minute. Now, I go, and this word is often. What word in the sentence, or what relationship does this have with the word go, do we think? When I go, okay? So it's going to modify the verb. What do we call a word that modifies a verb? Adverb. I'm just going to write ADV above often. Okay, so I've got to the house. Now, to can be one of two things. It could be a preposition or it could be an infinitive. It's an infinitive if it comes before a verb, but I see it comes before the word the. Is the word the a verb? No, I can't the stuff. What part of speech is the word the? Article, okay. I'm just going to write A-R-T. So that means that this word to has got to be a what? Preposition. Now, DGP is a lot of times about recognizing patterns. If I see preposition, article, I know that the word here is most likely going to be a noun. And I'm going to put a little in because noun is, the house is not a proper noun, it's a common noun. So, again, let's look at this. So I've got article, or preposition, article, noun. Here I've got of thy friend. Now, of is a preposition, but thy is not an article. And we talked about this a second ago. It's a fancy way of saying your. And so what part of speech would your be? It's a pronoun. What kind of pronoun? Possessive pronoun. So I'm going to write P-O-S-S-P-R-O. And it would be second person. And keep in mind, it's possessive pronoun, not possessed. Okay, and then friend, little baby noun. Okay, cool. So now I've got for weeds choke the unused path. The word for could be a preposition, but it could also be one of those words that connects two independent clauses. What do we call those? It's a conjunction. What kind of conjunction? It's one of our fanboys. For, and, nor, but, yeah. It's a coordinating conjunction. So I'm going to put CC. Okay. Weeds, what part of speech would that be? Yeah, a little baby noun. Okay, there we go. And what do the weeds do? Choke. They choke. So this is an action verb. And what tense is it? It's probably present, right? Because if it was past, I would have a D on the end. So I'm going to put P-R-E-S. We've already established D is an article. Oh, okay. Let's deal with the easy one first. Path. Path is it's a thing, right? So it's going to be a noun. But then I've got unused. What would unused be? Used is usually an action verb, right? I can use stuff. I use this marker to do DGP. But in this case, what relationship does the word unused have with the word path? It describes it as an adjective. But let's go deeper. Can an action verb be an adjective? It can if it has an ing or an ed at the end. Right? What do we call that? Close. In the same family. We're talking about verbals. Verbals are infinitives, gerunds, and participles. This is a participle. A participle is a verb that acts like an adjective. It describes stuff. All right, we just did Mondays. Woo! Let's go ahead and knock out Tuesdays. Now, Tuesdays are all about identifying the parts of the sentence. These were the parts of speech of each word. Now we've got to identify the parts of the sentence. And not every word is going to be something. The first thing we have to worry about is subjects and verbs. I have a verb here, but it has no subject. How could that be? An understood you. You just don't understand me, says the you. Okay, so you put that in parentheses. I can't fit it up there, but you could put it next to the go. That'd be just fine. So there's an understood you, and that is my subject. Go is the verb. We would just identify that with another V, but we have to determine if that verb is transitive or intransitive. And all that means is, does the verb transfer its action to an object? The easiest way to check for that is to see if the verb can answer the question what. If I say, I walked, well, you walked what? I walked the dog. The dog receives the action of walk. Do we have a you go what?
Yeah. No.
We have a you go when, but we don't have a you go what. So this is going to be an intransitive verb. I'm just going to put an I right there. All right, so we've identified the subject and verb here. Now let's see if we have anything else. Now I see we do have a preposition and an article and a house, or a noun rather. That's going to make that probably a prepositional phrase, right? So I'm going to open my parentheses here, and I'm going to close them here. To the house. Okay. Now, whenever we identify a phrase, we have to do two things. We have to identify the object, and we have to identify the type of phrase it is. First, let's identify the object. It's usually not hard to do. The object of a preposition is usually the last noun in the phrase. In this case, it is, there we go. We're going to put that OP. Not OP like like a weapon in Call of Duty, but OP like object of preposition. Okay. Now I have of thy friend. That is another prepositional phrase, right? And again, the last noun in there, OP. So I have two prepositional phrases, but they do two different things. To the house answers what question about go? Where? So since this is a verb, this phrase has to be what kind of prepositional phrase? Adjective or adverb? Adverb. So wherever you can fit it, write ADV, I guess I'm going to put ADV prep over that. So that I know that you know that to the house is an adverbial prepositional phrase. Adverbial prepositional phrase. This is going to be the name of my middle name. Okay. And then of thy friend. What question does of thy friend answer? What does it tell me more about? Does it tell me go? Go of thy friend? What does it describe? The house. The house, we'd established, is a noun, so this must be what type of phrase? Adjective. Adjective prep phrase. Fun fact, the adjective form of the word adjective is adjectival. That's going to be the name of my middle name. Okay. All right. More subjects and verbs. I have another clause here because I know this is a coordinating conjunction, so I know I'm looking at least for one more subject and one more verb. What's my next subject? Probably the first noun we come to? Weeds. So weeds is my subject. What does weeds do? They choke. That is an action verb. Now, again, we're trying to answer the question what. Can I answer the question what with the word choke?
Yes.
Choke what? Pack, okay? So I know this one is an action verb and it is transitive. And the noun that answers the question what is what part of the sentence? Direct object. D-O. Good. Now, in this second clause, did we identify any prepositions or anything like that? So I don't see any phrases. I don't see any phrases in for weeds choke the unused path. You can have participial phrases, but in this case, it's just the singular participle, so there's no thing there. So I think that's it. Is that Mondays and Tuesdays DGP? All right, thanks, guys. So if you're in 4th or 5th block, your homework is to watch this video, and tomorrow we'll film Wednesdays in 5th block. Thanks, guys.